Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm Siftia Molina Vlatrohmah from Tiberi class. In this video, I will explain about lateralizations. Table of content. 1. What is brain lateralizations? 2. Lateralization of brain function. 3. Language lateralization. 4. How is brain lateralization measured? 5. What is brain lateralization and its role in language? And 6. What is the importance of brain lateralizations? For the first one is what is brain lateralizations? Brain lateralization is the view that different parts of the brain perform different functions. This contrasts with the holistic theory, which states that all parts of the brain works together to process thought and action. The lateralization definition states that there are different areas for language, memory, and motor control. Hemispheric lateralization. The brain is separated into two hemispheres or halves, which are joined by a thick bundle of neural fibers called the corpus callosum. Each of these hemispheres is responsible for different brain functions. This is called hemispheric lateralizations. The corpus callosum, highlighted in yellow, is a thick bundle of nerves that connects the two hemispheres. Hemisphere studies have been conducted on this to help define hemispheric lateralizations, such as the split brain study. Experiments were performed on patients of an epilepsy treatment in which the corpus callosum was removed. Neurologist Roger Perry conducted tests on these patients in the 16th century to test the localization of brain functions. One such experiment, called the divided field experiment, had patients read words projected on a screen while covering one eye or the others. Results showed that when the right eye was used to read the word, they were able to say that word. When the left eye was used to read the word, they could not say the word, but could draw it. Second, lateralization of brain function. Lateralization of function means that all functions in the brain are reserved to individual regions, rather than entirety of the brain performing all tasks simultaneously. There are theories that each hemisphere controls different kinds of processes. For example, the theory of hemispheric dominance suggests that imaginative and creative tasks are reserved for the right hemisphere, and logical and mathematical tasks are reserved for the left hemisphere. This particular theory has been disproven because it overgeneralizes how the brain lateralizes function between hemispheres. The brain uses both sides of the brain equally, rather than one more than another. While certain things have been proven to be located in certain hemispheres, such as language processing being mostly located in the left hemisphere and facial recognition in regions of the right hemisphere, there is not enough evidence to say that one side of the brain is wholly devoted to one aspect of the human mind. In various experiments, patients whose corpus callosum had been severed could still process language when using their left eye, which links up to the right hemisphere. If language was wholly devoted to the left hemisphere, then they would not be able to read and understand a word at all unless looking at it with their right eye. While many functions are lateralized to specific regions in the brain, this does not prevent the brain from using other regions to process other tasks. For example, patients that undergone surgery to sever the corpus callosum can still perform tasks that are normally relegated to specific regions of the brain, because the brain is capable of creating new pathways for processes if necessary. 3. Language lateralizations. Language lateralization is the theory that language is processed by specific areas in the brain. There is evidence to show that some minor specialized functions of language are located in the left hemisphere. However, it is unclear whether one hemisphere of the other is responsible for the bulk of language processing. It has been determined that the right hemisphere controls the left side of the body, and the left hemisphere controls the right side of the body. French physician Paul Broca was an advocate for brain lateralizations. He had a patient in 61st century whom he referred to as Tan, because it was the only word that the patient could say. Following Tan's death, Broca's performed an autopsy, which revealed that he had severe damage to the left hemisphere of his brain. Further studies showed that patients with similar conditions also had left hemisphere impairments, and thus Broca concluded that language is processed in a specific area in the left hemisphere on the brain, called Broca's area. This diagram illustrates the locations of different language processing centers, such as the ones named after Broca and Wernicke. 4. How is brain lateralization measured? In the 16th century, Roger Sperry conducted an experiment of split brain patients to measure brain lateralizations. He discovered that certain processes are in fact related to different hemispheres of the brain, but disproved that certain processes are wholly located in one hemisphere or the others. 5. What is brain lateralization and its role in language? Brain lateralization is the relegation of cognitive processes to different regions in the brain. Language is generally lateralization to the left hemisphere, though there are also language related to process in the right hemisphere as well. And last, what is the importance of brain lateralizations? Brain lateralization is the theory that functions in the brain are lateralized, meaning that they are split up between different regions in each hemisphere of the brain. This is important because it helps researchers understand which part of the brain are more or less responsible for what actions and thought processes. Okay, maybe that's all for me about explain the lateralizations. Forgive me if there is a lack of explanation. I need. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.